What up, FIFA Tiers? It's B-Rad from the FSB creators, and we are here with another FUT Tiers podcast episode for you today. We hope you've enjoyed the change to the format of the podcast so far. Following this will be the FUT Tiers Extra time for this week, which will feature the Q&A and hot takes as well. So make sure you are following us. All the links down in the description for those on YouTube, so you can check out all of our content. But as always, I am joined by the fellow FSB creators, Mers and Luke. How are you guys doing?
I'm hot. I'm dying.
Yeah, I've got to admit, it is a different type of gravy.
I've got the door open, so that's my saving grace at the moment. It leads directly outside, so I'm doing okay. But earlier it was absolutely horrid.
Yeah, so obviously I messaged you guys saying, like, could we just push this back like an hour than we usually do? It was because tonight we're moving house, so I bought a new house, which hopefully we'll be moving into in October. But tonight we'd sold our dining room table and chairs, and it seemed like a good thing in the sense that, we're recycling some of our old stuff and putting it towards new purchases. But having to move 6 dining room table chairs and a massive table out of my what I would say is a furnace, not a dining room, because it's like a conservatory outside at that heat, I was less than pleased. I was very, very sweaty. Alas, we digress. The weather is hot. As Brits, we don't seem to deal with it very well. It's very well known, and I'm sure you guys are feeling it as well. We are now into week 4 of footies on FIFA 22, and we also have batch 3 of the players, which are largely focused around shapeshifters at the moment. So first, my question to you guys, how many or what sort of ones have you packed so far?
Shapeshifter wise, I think I've just got 2 El Shawaris, a Felipe in the 85 plus. I don't think I've really packed. I think the problem is at the same time there's a lot of dupes, and I don't really keep track of what I've got dupe wise. So it's hard to know because there's not many that I haven't really got, shall we say.
Yeah, I've just literally packed an El Shaarawy as we've started recording. Apart from that, I've not really been in much. I've been either at Pride or I've been down in Brighton for Pride. I've been sort of out enjoying the world.
In that small interim window that we enjoy life between FIFAs, is that?
Just a bit of need to get out. Sod it, why not?
No, that's fair play. I am actually out on the golf course tomorrow, so I will be enjoying that. No doubt, though, it's going to be blistering heat, and I will regret about halfway round in doing so. But hopefully we could just get a bit of breeze tomorrow. It'd be lovely. I haven't actually opened many packs. I opened, I think, an 85 times 10 whilst at work, and what I seem to find at the moment is my most common player. Like, it seems like you've both got Futties Shawari a little bit. My most common packed player is Depay, but I haven't actually packed the shapeshifters yet. Obviously, I would love to see that Ginola pop up. I know, obviously, Luke, you've been fortunate enough to already have him in your possession, but he is sort of rapidly coming down in price now, so hopefully maybe more packable at this stage of the game, do you think?
I mean, potentially. We know it's normally based off value, but how many cards are more expensive than him at the moment if we're looking? He is still the 6th highest, and one of them's including an SBC Ronaldo, so 5th on the market.
One chance that you might get a little bit more of in getting him is that Futties times 10 pack. So have you guys opened that pack up?
On one account, yes.
Did you get anything, like, was it incredible? Was it as good as the expense of the pack?
No, definitely not. Because I even said at the start of it, my honest opinion, 85 plus times 10 pack is more worth doing because at the end of the day, you can craft 4 of those. Or no, it's not like unlimited repeatable at the moment, but if it was, you would be able to craft 4 of those from scratch versus that one Futties, and you can essentially at least try and pack what you could get in that Futties just in the 85 plus pack anyway. So generally speaking, and I think although I didn't really get any of the ultra stinkers, but there are obviously some ratings that you could get that are lower than what you can get in the 85 plus as well. I think the other thing was you could because it's not unlimited. You could do, technically speaking, the 85 plus, the hero shapeshifters or foot captains player pick plus an 86 plus player pick if you really wanted to, for the same cost as like a footies thing. So you got like multiple opportunities to try and get something big versus just going all in on that one.
So I've got mine right now, and I just remembered I did get one really good player in it. Everything else is near enough hot garbage. Like Informed Shore, Informed Ginter, some low rated tots. But then there's just a Shapeshifter's Rivery sitting there. So I did actually get someone good. I just completely forgot about it because my audio's ruined it and it's silent the whole way through. So I've been experiencing mic issues all the way up to today.
So I had 3 dupes: Frimpong, Zaha, Kyunde, team of the season cards. So looking quite good. Then I had Lundberg, Silas, Shapeshifters, Bremer, Anthony, Neuer, Vlahovic, and it was, who was the last one? Salah? Yeah, Salah. So Salah wasn't too bad in that. But yeah, in terms of like the value of the rest of the cards, like pretty much all high rated cards right now, you can virtually buy them for under 30k or under right now. Like there's 95 plus players going for like 20k, I think, at the moment. So yeah, high rated cards are a bit ridiculous in price at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that right now, I suppose, not a lot of people are holding coins. You know, if you were rich to start off with during this promo, then you're probably, you know, you're still doing okay. But most people wouldn't have sort of high balances other than sort of maybe the sort of content creators, just because there's no point in having coins at this stage. You're just going to, like you say, recycle all your fodder back into things. But yeah, for 19k at the moment, you can get a 94 rated team of the season, which is pretty crazy, isn't it? Sort of crazy prices there at the moment. So yeah, it does mean though that SBCs are more affordable. Now there's been a few SBCs that have come out, but this one, when I looked at its statistics, definitely appealed to me because we saw like how everyone went crazy over Barella, and rightly so. Like Barella is incredible, but this Kevin Prince Boateng is 5-star, high work rates, 6'1", looks like he could be like the perfect centre mid. I think at this point in the game, probably even play him at centre forward. Probably could even play him at CDM given high work rates. But yeah, I looked through the card before I recycled my third Depay, and I actually thought, do you know what? For an 85 rated squad, this seemed like a no-brainer. Have you guys got and used this card yet?
Yes, in the Bundesliga Cup I've used it, but only in the Bundesliga Cup, so can't really get a true gauge of it because games don't really last more than, say, 60 to 2 minutes long, basically, like 60 seconds, 2 minutes. So in terms of giving them a true run out, no, I have not tried him out in that sort of sense, but it seems perfectly fine and doing a job in the Bundesliga Cup, I would say.
And I take it everyone you come up against has got him?
No, actually. No, I don't think everyone has, no.
The thing that surprised me with that is just given, like you say, with duplicates and things, that I would have thought people would have looked at this card and the rating and thought they would probably, you know, this is like a no-brainer card to sink it into so that you've got someone for upcoming objectives and things. What about you, Luke? Have you got him?
I do have him, yet to use him, as I said, touch grass recently, so not been really there on the time scale, but yeah, I enjoyed his moments card from earlier in the year, still have it, so that did a job for me for quite a while in a Bundesliga team, and I'm sure it will be just as good.
Yeah, I mean, he looks insane. I've only used him in the what the other Bundesliga one to get the dynamic duos is. So I've used him in that one, and yeah, I mean, he seems pretty incredible. The 90, I've got him playing as the central centre mid in a 4-3-1-2 getting forward. So essentially, he is playing cam, and his shooting is phenomenal. Considering you have to do outside of the goal shots for that. He has scored me a couple. I'll get on to who is involved in those SBC objectives in a minute, but there are a couple more Bundesliga players in squad building objectives. So there is the Futties February favourite Lacroix would also fit into a nice Bundesliga team at the moment. I mean, he looks incredible. 96 pace for a centre back, for an 83 and 85 rated squad with no special card requirements. Seems pretty insane. And then the newest one was player. Did you guys vote for this guy?
No.
I voted for KP.
And I also voted for Boateng as well.
And I voted for Boateng as well. So, yeah, I don't know. He did come second, didn't he? Or
KP came second. Player came first.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm looking at the card thinking, yeah, he looks very nice. He is obviously a bit more expensive, 84 and 86 rated squads. Again, with no requirements. Looks nice, so 95 pace, 97 shooting. Again, 5-star, 5-star. Yeah, attacking position of 99. There's a few decent stats on this card. I'd probably, if I get more dupes from like future SBC packs, will complete this card and maybe seeing like how I'm going to use my tokens when they come by. If he's still around, will he be around? No. Expires in 3 days. So yeah, if I manage to do some of the 85 times 10s or anything from now until then, I might put them into him. I kind of like that at the moment, is putting them into these players and getting some use out of these players for now, rather than recycling them back into 85 times 10s. Especially sometimes with the refresh, you have to wait a little while, don't you? So you can't always do it straight away, and I don't want to just leave my dupes sitting on the unassigned list, and I don't have any refreshes at this point. We have then got, as I said, in the objectives, the dynamic duo. I joked about this on a thing the other day, and Mers, you picked up on it, that I would have loved to have seen Royce and Brandt, just for the memes for Pieface, really, bless him. But it was pretty close. They went for Brandt and Thorgan Hazard. So Brandt is your 15 goals, and Thorgan Hazard is the rest of the SBC to complete. Both look pretty phenomenal, again, for essentially free cards. Weak foot 5-star, 4-star skill moves, high for Hazard. And can we get in to have a look at Brandt? We can. 5-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, high medium. If I was going to choose which card I'd prefer, it would be Brandt. In terms of the 5-star skill moves, I've used them a bit more this year, but obviously if you're going to do one, you're probably going to go on to complete the other. Are you guys near through completing these or started these? Or
I've done the Brandt part, but I haven't started the bit with him in the team to then get Thorgan Hazard.
Yeah, I mean that mode as well is a bit strange, isn't it? It's like a long range mode, so you get double for goals outside the box. Doesn't contribute though to your goal tally, I don't believe.
No, will count to your goal tally. Like, you'll just get one goal will only be one goal. Like, you don't get two towards it if you score from outside of it. Yeah. Which is why, like, I have a whiteboard, like when I was doing the 15 goals, to keep tally of how many goals I was genuinely scoring, because some of them were getting.
Sometimes you'll lose count. Yeah,
outside of the box. So then I'm like, okay, I know. But luckily, somebody essentially let me score like 12 goals in one game, and then I got the other 3 from doing like golden goal. Because that's the other thing. It's like, it's a bit pointless like having it as long range and trying to get an extra point for scoring from outside of the box, because people are generally, most of the time, you get a few people that aren't doing golden goal, but most of the time people are doing golden goal. So you only need that one goal. It doesn't matter whether it was outside the box. I mean, obviously the requirement for scoring outside the box, that matters a bit. But yeah, if you're scoring the goal, that's it. Someone pretty much quits out unless they're being a bit of a bell end.
Well, I've only played 2 of these at the moment. The first one quit out straight away. The second one went all the distance, and meant I got 9 goals in that. I think I won 9-2 or something. And it wasn't like when I say that, like when I expected that. Whenever you get in these games and you get that many sort of goals, usually it's because that person is sharing the goal that you score. They then whatever, draw their goalkeeper out or do something. You score, we score, they score, you score, we score, and you sort of play it apart. But this guy wasn't. He was genuinely playing me. So that's why it ended up as 9-2 and not 9-8 or whatever. But it does mean it got me a little bit more for a way to obviously get in Brandt, because I've only got 5 goals left to do, which after 2 games is pretty handy, especially for someone like me who doesn't have all that time. Have you made tracks towards these yet, Luke?
No. As previously mentioned, I touched grass, and normally I'm the guy to do these, so that's kind of concerning.
3 days and 21 hours. So as long as you're not planning on touching grass during that time frame, you might get them done.
I mean, that's what now's for. I'm currently in that game mode.
But yeah, I think to be fair, I think they both look pretty good. And given the fact that they've both got the crown, means obviously they strong link to any German league and obviously your other Futties cards, which by this point I think most people have probably got a full starting 11 of Futties cards as well. But alongside FIFA, obviously we do have real life people that actually do touch grass football.
Whoa.
What?
We haven't spoken about something that was released since the last podcast. We're not going to talk about that
big
17-part SBC?
Kind of important.
Did we not talk about that? Was it not out?
No, that's come out since the last
way.
episode. Yeah, so, surely.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, we've got to give some time to this guy then. Okay, so the other thing to talk about before we get into real life football, where people do actually touch grass, is the most ridiculous, and I'm going to still go with that, the most ridiculous SBC, given the point of the year, is Ferland Mendy's Premium Futties card. Now, the first thing to address here is that you actually completed this very early on after he released, didn't you, Mers?
Yeah, I completed him on the evening. I think I had him done and dusted by 9 o'clock. Whilst having to deal with like family stuff in between. I would have had him done sooner if it wasn't for that. But yeah, I looked at that. I was like, damn, it is a bit pricey. I mean, the requirements for it, especially like the first 4, I was like, ooh, those first 4 SBCs needing like exact type of special cards. I was like, ooh, do I have it? But luckily, Silver Stars in some ways come in a bit clutch on like 2 of them, but I still had quite a few of my team of seasons like low end raid ones as well, so that wasn't too bad. But yeah, I sent nearly all my fodder that I had in my club into it. I still had quite a fair few like high end special cards still left in my club afterwards for like building like a team from each league, some of the nations, because I bared that in mind for the summer swaps. But yeah, I managed to do it with 0 coins, using 0 coins from my balance, everything from my club, and I only had to do 4 player picks to help me complete the last SBC, which was only the 85 one, because I started at the 91 and built it down in terms of rating, so that I was like, okay, I'll get rid of the harder ones first and then just go from there. But yeah, and I absolutely love that card in game. He's such a beast. I mean, he's known as a rat for a reason, basically.
I mean, and given this stance of this price, you would hope he is insane in game, right? Like,
yeah,
you can't get people to be putting this much into a player and it not be insane. Do you think going forward, it's obviously kind of like other than at the start of the year when they have like putting one of these cards into an SBC, like we do with Team of the Seasons now, do you think you sort of see this going forward as being a thing, this Ultimate Futties Ferland Mendy? Is this a test that like maybe in the future we'll see them say you need to submit a card of this type, a card of that type? Because it reminds me of, I don't know if you guys know this or play this game, but Madfoot, do you remember? Have you ever played it?
I've not played it, but I've seen you've done a video on it.
Yeah, I used it to like pick my team, but essentially within that they have loads of different modes as a draft mode and other things. But when it has an SBC mode where you can get like a specific sort of like your end of eras or specific special card, you have to submit like a player from this sort of special card, this sort of special card, that sort of special card. So it seems like EA have sort of pinched on that idea a little bit. And I just wonder, going forward, do you think this is something we're going to see as like features in SBCs for next year?
Okay, so I haven't played this game in a while, but it is another EA-based game, Madden, which has its own Ultimate Team. So it's MUT, basically, Madden Ultimate Team instead of FIFA Ultimate Team.
Okay.
But obviously, it has a similar premise. Obviously, you got to build your teams, you collect your cards and stuff. But on there, it has this like SBC like feature where if you're collecting certain players, because players have multiple versions, like they will with FIFA and special cards, like say for instance at Daka he had 2 special cards come out, so it's like that, but you submit like the worst one plus some of like other stuff from the same club that he might play for, or just some other cards. Right. That you would then submit to them, maybe upgrade to the better version. So I have heard rumors that potentially FIFA 23 might be bringing in these different style of like SBCs, redemption, and because there is like these rewards that you can earn in FIFA 23. So there is that potential side of things. But I think the only reason mainly that Mendy has that is just because it's that stage of FIFA where everything is being packed. There's just everything is in special cards. And to be fair, we've had it already in SBCs earlier in the year where instead of it being put a team of the week in, it was like put in a signature sign-ins into the SBC instead, which obviously caused like the prices of them to go up and stuff. So it is something that has been done already on this FIFA, and yes, it wouldn't be surprised that you have it going into other FIFAs. I mean, you even have to look back to previous player of the months in other FIFAs where you had to put in that exact player, for instance, to then submit them and get like the better version or something like that. Like Aubameyang player of the month was one, and you had to put Aubameyang.
I remember one year with Harry Kane. Like, yeah, they kept getting them.
I remember how they screwed that Harry Kane up.
Yes, they did, didn't they? You could put a gold rare in.
No, when a gold rare, it was a bronze non-rare. It said no. Non-rare. It had to be a non-rare, non-gold. I'm pretty sure, or something like that. Before they ended up changing it to has to be special.
Yeah.
And then people had to start buying Dele Alli in form and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's how that went. Because it was, I think, a guy called Austin was a striker. It had to get chemistry as a striker, non-rare, and it just wasn't possible. English specific as well. It was like, no.
Yeah, rather than sort of say you need to put in player of the month, from that month, Harry Kane. They messed up, didn't they? They tried to
make it so you had to buy
finite the criteria, but actually they missed integral parts out.
So what they tried to do was make you have to buy informed Dele Alli or informed Harry Kane. That's what they tried to make you do. They didn't care if it was player of the month. They just wanted it to be a special version of Dele Alli / Kane, and they still screwed it up.
I do remember that.
That was what, FIFA.
Feels like 17, maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was the same year Lucas Moura had a player of the month. It was the sort of purple and silver with the.
Yes, they were the purple ones.
It was that design. I'm pretty certain.
Where they were holding the blue. Most of them were just holding the blue trophy on there, weren't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain
that was way before dynamic images, wasn't it?
I don't think that was the Lucas Moura design actually. It might have been like Hazard, Sterling, and the likes. I think Moura was the year later, but still, yes, like that was those sort of times.
Just going to touch slightly on FIFA 23, but not too much, because we did watch a little video just about the update for pro clubs. Crossplay isn't on there at the moment, but EA have said that they are going to introduce it. But also there's going to be some things like perks added to the game, some ways to level up a little bit quicker. Drop-in modes are going to be 4 minutes each half. A few things on there for pro clubs players that will be interested in. But really, we're not players of it. We don't have it.
Speak for yourself.
I play on it in terms of with my brother and my friends, but I don't play on it for content.
I don't play on it for content, but I do play on it with, say, Lind.
Would you guys stream it?
Remember. I've streamed it from time to time in the past, like
Yeah.
casually with mates. Yeah, it's something I've not streamed for a while, but I definitely have streamed it.
I can imagine it's quite good for that in terms of lobbies and getting like viewers to come in and play. Like it'd be quite interactive, which is definitely an appealing side of pro clubs. But as we said, real people do touch grass at times, and they did certainly touch grass this weekend in football. So it kicked off, and it kicked off in a big way, didn't it, Mers, on Friday night?
He certainly did. A tough encounter, but that is to be expected against a Crystal Palace under the management of Patrick Vieira and how they were playing like last season. But we grinded it out. We were solid in defence, and we came out on top in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I didn't see the game. Looking at statistics, it looks like it was fairly even in terms of like possession, shots, everything like that. But yeah, you came out on top, and that is the main thing. At the start of the year, getting 3 points away from home at Palace on the opening day is pretty big.
There were some big missed chances in that game for both sides as well. Eze needed to hit it anywhere but at Ramsdale. Cracking save from Ramsdale from Edouard as well. Credit where credit's due. But also Martinelli really should have scored earlier than he did.
The only thing I'm sort of looking at here is, and sort of something I don't know too much about, not being obviously a fan of them, is that Palace don't look like they've made many moves in the window.
Their main focus has been Decore.
So, whereas they were facing a team who actually have. I mean, I know on the day you really you only had two, sort of, didn't you? You had arguably three, but two in terms of Jesus and Zinchenko. And then you also had, obviously, Saliba return back to the starting lineup. Obviously, he's been pretty good since he's been away on loan. Does he look like he's going to be a guaranteed starter for you on his return?
Yeah, 100%. That's why Ben White is playing right back, is because he's just too good to not have in that team right now. Like, I was glad that he came back and wasn't sold straight back to Marseille or something like that, which was potential rumours of what might have potentially happened at the end of last season. But we've kept him, and yeah, he's good on the ball. He literally came first in pretty much a lot of the defensive stats. He even came first for pass accuracy as well. So solid ball player from the back of the pitch. And whenever Ben White was beaten by Zaha, he was there to meet the challenge basically and making critical challenges.
Even up against someone like Mateta, who came on sort of a more physical side, he was out muscling him. So yeah, from what I've seen, Saliba's a real deal. It's one game, but from what we've seen so far, real deal.
And the next things I'm going to touch on in the weekend's football, or Premier League football, is kind of in tying in with some of the things that we talked about over on the Q&A and hot takes, or I think it was probably the Q&A and hot takes for last week. So go and check out our episodes from last week, because you'll basically get to see where it happened and what we talked about then as to what I'm about to talk about now. And that is about promoted sides coming up, how they play their games, and some of the results we predicted, or some of the end season certainly results that we predicted, and how that played out this weekend. So every single one of us, I think, had Bournemouth in the bottom.
Yep. Yes, we did.
And yep, they came out on Saturday and got a 2-0 win at home to Villa. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that Bournemouth isn't the easiest place to go and play away at, but really, did we not think that Villa would probably get the win here?
Yeah, I think most people would have backed it, but honestly, I looked at Villa and they're not the most convincing. I think very mid-table. I think I've had them as 9th for where I think they'll finish, but they could easily finish lower. I was struggling to put them top half.
I mean, so starting lineup, they had obviously Ings up front, Bailey back. Obviously, he was injured for quite a lot bit last year. Coutinho featuring at left wing, so not really playing as central as he maybe would. And then obviously they've got their new sign, Diego Carlos, at the back. But yeah, it seems like, considering we were talking about one that like Bournemouth didn't seem to make many moves or anything like that, they've come up. They've got 3 points on the opening day, and yes, it's very early on. Obviously, it's the first game of the season, but currently sit fifth. As a very surprise opening season entrance, I suppose, into the Premier League. Unlike Forest, who I think we all had down the bottom as well.
I had 15th, so that's not what was said. I said they'd stay up.
Well, for Forest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I specifically said that the signings would help.
Oh yeah, signings would help, yeah.
Whereas I was the polar opposite, who was saying that sign-ins, and it kind of showed in some ways that they haven't quite fully gelled together, and this is going to be an issue in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen sort of the highlights on Match of the Day, and obviously Callum Wilson's goal was a bit lucky, like the scuffed cross, because it definitely wasn't intended where it went, and then obviously his deflection for it to go in. I mean, chances created, right? You got to put them there to get a goal. That's fair enough. Fabian Schär's strike, goal of the weekend. Absolutely thunder, smashed it. And yeah, other than that, it didn't look like I saw a lot from Forest to threaten a team like Newcastle. So that does make me worried about teams that are going to be better than Newcastle this year. I mean,
how many would you say are better than Newcastle though this year? Where would you predict Newcastle are going to finish?
I feel like they're going to get top 8. Obviously, I think there was a statistic I saw that from Christmas to the end of the season last year, they'd have finished second based on points earned.
Mm-hmm.
It's no surprise, obviously, for them to get a 2-0 win at home to Forest on the opening day of the season. But I would say, yeah, I would say they're not going to get top 5 to me, but I wouldn't be surprised for them to get anywhere from 6th to 8th this year.
Which that's a lot of teams that would be a lot worse than Newcastle in that sense, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. There's obviously a lot, but I mean, what I mean is, I feel like the gulf though between 6th, 7th, and 8th to 5th this year will be a lot bigger.
My point I'm trying to make is, you said that Forest against teams that are better than Newcastle, you've only got about potentially 5 to 7 ahead of them. There's still a lot of the league left that Forest could try and take points off of, and if they gel down the line, they could obviously perform a bit better.
It is, but then I think it's those things that where, like you say, you said, Villa, I think, like, are mid-table this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's that sort of game or that sort of opponent, isn't it, to see where they kind of fit in. They're the ones now where they got to kind of pick up their points, isn't it? So we'll get to see where that is. I know you, Luke, alluded to Southampton could be in trouble this year, and certainly they were in trouble on Saturday against your team.
Yes, they
Did you watch
were.
the game?
I was in Brighton at the time, but
You're in Brighton. Yeah.
I did watch the highlights and have seen the goals, and yeah, it's not a great look for Southampton in terms of clearing their lines, specifically the Eric Dyer goal for that. Walker Peters was caught napping for the Sessegnon goal. There was bits of class in there from Tottenham, a lot of chances created, but I don't know whether it was the system they played, that they switched to a 5-back, which they're not usually playing in Southampton, so worried about defensive issues, and it meant that they just didn't have creativity. The only time they really properly went forward with Gineppo and James Ward-Prowse, they scored, but they just didn't look like they had any creativity, to me at least. So I do worry for them.
Obviously, you're the best person to ask here in terms of the team, because being a supporter, but I feel like this team, obviously, that started isn't going to be your most common 11, probably for the year. But it was nice to see Sessegnon start. Obviously, in terms of your bench, you would imagine, or I would imagine rather, that Perisic and potentially, I suppose, Longley are going to see a lot more football in the starting 11 than off the bench.
you'd argue that for a lot of players. Like Richarlison, I think, with how Kulusevski's played, will probably be a rotation option, as I said. But Basuma, I think, would be more longing for first team than, say, Longley. We'll see. I've not seen much of Clement Longley for Spurs yet, so... And I think it will be probably 50-50 for Perisic and Sessegnon, because I think using him in rotation would probably be the smartest course of action. Realistically, you've got, Sessegnon, who's 23, I reckon, and a 31-year-old Perisic. I don't think I expect Perisic to play X amount of games in a season. There will be rotation definitely used throughout.
Do you think he'll maybe feature in some of the games that will require a bit more experience? Maybe like your Champions League?
Could see him in the Champions League games for sure, especially considering last time in Europe with Sessegnon, he was the reason we went out of the Conference League.
Yeah.
It was him
there's
getting
just that
sent
kind
off.
of bit of experience there, isn't there?
Yeah, it was a bit rash, got sent off, and then we were doomed. So it'll be a sort of a trust thing. Obviously, Perisic is used to playing under Conte, so I would not be entirely surprised if he does make that position his own. But I think we need to sort of build on Sessegnon at the same time. As much as immediate results are needed and sort of a trophy would be beautiful, progressing the team at the same time would be a focus.
Well, and hey, and as it stands at this point, sitting at top of the table. So
I'm enjoying it while it lasts.
yes, exactly.
I'm not confident ahead of next week. As much as you'd think Chelsea struggling at Everton would be sort of music to my ears. They've got Spurs next. They beat us 4 times last season in 1 month, pretty much. So
and a year away, I suppose.
Yep, we don't have a good record at the Bridge. Yeah. It's on paper, you'd think compared to the windows and compared to how they actually played against Everton, which is fairly laboured, which, as much as I did say Sterling for Golden Boot, Chelsea have been able to get by on little amounts of goals for quite a few seasons now. If you look at the last couple of seasons, I think Mount got 12 to 14 goals last season as top goal scorer.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was Jorginho with 8 the season before. So Chelsea are more of a compact defensive unit than a goal machine.
The other thing we did sort of talk about a little bit was about people coming into the league from, the Championship and how they're going to go at teams. And boy, oh boy, did Fulham go at Liverpool. Were leading. Twice. But we do know one thing of a Liverpool. They will be resolute. They will obviously never be out of a game. Mitrovic, the one player that everybody's saying, or I saw that actually didn't they tweet it out themselves, Fulham, that he won't do it in the Prem, or he can't do it in the Prem. They tweeted it out, I believe, when he scored, and how anyone can say, I suppose, that a guy who scored however many goals he scored in the Championship last year isn't going to be able to get 47 or something, wasn't it? How he's going to not score in the Prem or not cut it in the Prem? Come on now, he might not be fighting at the top for the top goal scorer at the end of the year, just because of obviously Fulham's long-term performance in the league, but certainly he's going to get as many goals for them, as he will during that fight. So I wouldn't write him off. But yeah, they took it to him. They did. And I like to see that. I like to see teams come up and not just sit back and try and hope to counter-attack. They took it to Liverpool, nearly got their rewards. Unfortunately, Núñez, obviously Liverpool's new signing, and Salah. I would say Salah. Núñez obviously had intended on trying to put that ball in the net, but his feet or his footing was not on his side. Salah obviously gets his first goal of the season as well. Did you watch all of that game or any of that game? Or
I watched that game, and I've got to say, in some ways with Núñez, he was trying to showboat, I feel, a little bit with the way he was trying to do his shots. And the goal that he did get was a bit lucky in some ways, because of the pure fact that it came off the defender and then went straight back to his heel, which then went into the back of the net. So he was a bit fortunate with that, because in my opinion, trying to do the same thing twice and it was looking like that would have missed anyway. If that had missed, he would just look like an idiot, in my opinion. Just try and score normally. Like, okay, you can try and do fancy things once in a while, but trying to do it over and over and over again, calm down, mate, calm down. But
well, and this is that thing. Like, it's like you need to realise that at the moment you are in a team of a certain amount of class, because the Liverpool are obviously, where you are not guaranteed your position. They've obviously taken a bit of a risk on him because yes, he looks like he's a young promising talent, but he is still a young promising talent that has come from Benfica. So the what I mean by saying that is that the Portuguese league don't exactly have the the highest level competitive football. There is always sort of two teams in it there, and the rest kind of always the rest always fall behind, or you got Benfica, Porto, and Sporting, and nothing else really sort of comes into the fray. But to start doing this in the first proper game of the season, I don't think it shows class. I think it shows immaturity. And that worries me, like, in terms of the level of management is going to be needed for him this year from Klopp. Don't get me wrong, I don't doubt that Klopp's got experience with dealing with youngsters like this, but it does concern me that he may already feel like he's, a bit not better than other players necessarily, but certainly will rate himself. I always try and make this comparison to Zlatan, and I feel like it's harsh on Zlatan. But he's a player that backs himself better than his ability, maybe.
Oh no, I think Zlatan does have the ability to go with that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I mean I hate the comparison, because it's not always the case with Zlatan. Yes, he did think he was the best striker in the world. Is he? No, but was certainly had a lot more ability about him, and yeah, over his career has proven that. But yeah, for this guy, I don't know. I'm the jury's out for me. Yes, he's gotten a goal and an assist on the opening day of the season, but like you say, they could easily have been. He could easily come away with that, looking like a player that tried to do all this fancy thing and came away with nothing. Which is actually contrary to, I'm going to say his rival this year, but I don't think it will be necessarily seen as a rival, but you could argue it. Erling Haaland.
Definitely.
Did you see the man's...
Rival.
You would say it is.
Yeah, of course.
Any striker.
There's been direct comparisons between the two biggest sides in the Premier League, bringing two big names or two expensive strikers. They're obviously going to be compared and rivaled against each other. Of course they are. It's just how football works.
Did you see the Man City game?
I did. It was a beautiful goal. The second one, ball from De Bruyne was sublime, and then
it was
can't
incredible.
finish. That's what we were talking about with last week when Haaland and wanting to get him behind counter-attack style, just running at the defence. Both goals. Yeah. Haaland's got a direct run at the defence, and he's caused problems. Yeah,
but I think, and the thing is with him as well, is I think he has so much versatility about him that you're going to see him. I think he's going to be, I wouldn't say unmanageable, but certainly very hard to manage for a lot of defenders in the Premier League, because he'll get in behind, and if he doesn't get in behind, then he'll be used as a target man to play off the wingers, whoever, Mahrez, Grealish, Bernardo Silva, Foden, whoever it might be. So I think like the versatility of him this year is going to be is going to be the most dangerous factor about Man City. It's not just about trying to watch him on his runs, but actually what he's going to do. He looked sharp. That run, the ball, I mean, it was through the eye of a needle, and it's just classic Kevin De Bruyne. And now he's got someone who is going to basically say, this is where I want it, and Kevin De Bruyne is quality enough to go, well, here it is then. I think he looks... I obviously said, jokingly aside, that with the 6-yard miss in the Community Shield, that I was reluctant to back him to be top goal scorer this year, but I think I feel very, very confident this year that he's going to see I would say 25 to 30 goals is where I think he'll be at, especially given that he will get chances against other teams that are going to leak goals a lot more than what West Ham will this season. One arguably what I would say was not a surprise. I mean, you guys know on the day what I had down for this result is Man United versus Brighton.
Yeah, you mentioned difficult to manage, and I was tempted to just transition straight into this game. Baffling.
Do we think the wheels are off here at the moment?
I think the wheels are off in terms of the players. I think United fans, again, realise it's the players, not the manager.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Rangnick, when he said they needed 10 new players and the boards almost sort of fell over, I think they're realising that McTominay's not good enough to be in a midfield. And to be fair, Brighton were nearly robbed. If there was an equaliser in that game, then Brighton were fully robbed of the stonest of all penalties. To look at VAR and to look at referees on the first game week, that is a huge decision they screwed up. A straight
massively.
push in the back.
Yeah, like there was like it's not like that was a shoulder to shoulder. Like that you can understand. That was a shove in the back. Yeah, that was 100% a penalty. I don't understand how they got away with it.
You've got Jamie Carragher, I know bias and all that Liverpool. Carragher's yelling on the TV that, it's a definite penalty, 100%, all day long that's going to get given. And then suddenly VAR goes, it's been looked into after like 5 seconds. It's job done. Move on. Hold up, wait a minute. Have you seen that, Maz?
I have. I saw the highlights at work today, and yeah, I agree. It's a stonewall penalty. Like, he's just come running, not even slowly either, like proper full-on running, and like straight into him.
To the back, straight to the floor. That should have been Pascal Gross's hat-trick, bear in mind. That should have been a hat-trick for Pascal Gross. First time they've lost to Brighton at Old Trafford as well.
Like some of the problems they got rid of, I think, like obviously, like I alluded to this before, like the lack of commitment from Paul Pogba. Obviously, when he doesn't want to play, then it's really tough because he's your centralised midfielder who's meant to be making, like, basically the playmaker.
Mentioning Paul Pogba, actually, hang on just to quickly, I find it hilarious, the United transfer policy. They got rid of, on a free, a prima donna that's French, that plays centre mid from Juventus, and they're replacing him with a prima donna that's French, that plays centre mid from Juventus. You're known for having difficulties in the dressing room, so you invite the person whose mum single-handedly got him to quit PSG and had fights with Pogba on I think it was it Euro 2020 that they had a fight. It's stuff like that. You're replacing one crazy sort of toxic atmosphere and bringing in someone else who's going to do the exact same.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Is that I think it's the panic buy of a CDM, isn't it? They've seen one that's available and not really thought it through.
And it's the fact that Juve are buying the player that I reckon would actually be better in United
in terms of quality,
Paredes.
definitely.
And it almost completes the cycle. Rabiot left PSG to go to Juventus to then go there. And now Juventus are taking... So Paredes is going to end there in about 3 years' time. He's going to go to United. You heard it here first. Completes the cycle.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, a sign that could have been good for them, who went to Roma, is Wijnaldum.
Would Wijnaldum have joined them with the Liverpool stuff? I don't know how sort of good his loyalty is there, but...
Would have been a good signing if he would have gone to Man United.
Last thing to touch on in that game is the McTominay challenge. I personally think that was a red card as well.
You can definitely argue it. You can definitely argue a case for it. I saw it briefly, so I've not had an extended look at it and been able to say definite or not, but it's definitely...
It's definitely one of those challenges that when you look at it more and more, it doesn't get better.
Yeah, if it got given as a red card and then it went to VAR, it wouldn't get overturned, I don't believe.
Yeah,
it's in one of those horrible little orange areas. If it was given, it's not overturned. If it's not given, are they going to overturn it? A little bit higher, and I reckon they would, but it's a difficult spot to be in.
But I mean, we've talked FIFA, we've talked some football. That is going to be pretty much it for today's podcast episode. We will be touching on some of our predictions and things for the Champions League in the FUT Tiers Extra time, which will be following this podcast this week. So go and check that out, and we'll obviously have some more Q&As from you guys as viewers and hot takes and things going on over there. So make sure you do catch our other extended episode of this week's FUT Tiers podcast. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in, and also thank you to my fellow content creators for their attendance this evening.
No
problem at all.
We'll catch you guys soon. Thank you ever so much for tuning in, and make sure to be following us on all the socials and send us some Q&As and join our Discord as well. Link will be down in the description for those on YouTube. Catch you later.
See ya.